I hope you will forgive me because I'm going to talk about, or at least I'm going to use an interview situation as a means of explaining something important today. Some people say to me, you're always talking about interviews, but one of the reasons I'm always talking about interviews is that an awful lot of people with whom I work, through the course of our work, ultimately find themselves at the kind of crossroads that is brought about as a result of going for an interview or attending an interview, or should I say participating in an interview, being there, and the things that flow from that. But again, as I've said before in other situations where I've talked about interviews, what I'm about to say applies to any situation in life in which you want to make an impression. Obviously, nobody wants to make the wrong impression, so I'm not going to even qualify what I just said. I'm talking about any situation in life where you want to make and leave an impression that will move you forward. You know what I'm talking about in terms of moving you towards the life that you would love to live. I was talking to a client a couple of weeks ago who was agonizing over the amount of study he would need to undertake to ensure that he passed the competence part of the interview process that he was going through. Now, obviously, by that I mean the kind of skills or experience or the technical competencies that he would be expected to bring to the job for which he was interviewing. As I said to him, you need obviously to do all that preparation, but you don't need to over-prepare. Now, there's a lot of research in relation to over-preparing for exams or situations like this. You don't need to over-prepare because you'll end up tying yourself in knots. What you need to do is ensure that you've covered all your bases once. And once you've done that, the key thing you need to do is turn up to the interview. He wasn't quite sure about that, hemmed and hawed about it a bit, but I said to him, ultimately, assuming you have these competencies, and you must assume that they assume you have these competencies, otherwise you wouldn't even be interviewing for the job in the first place. Ultimately, it's all down to how you present yourself. And then I paused. Reflect on the sentence that I have just spoken. It's all about how you present yourself. There's that word present in the middle of that sentence again. It's a phrase that we use in everyday language in the same way that we use other phrases like, oh, doesn't that guy with a bit of charisma have a presence about him? It's all about being present. If you're not present, regardless of the level of competency you would bring to whatever it is you are trying to make an impression about, if you're not fully present, you're divided, and a divided mind always fails. This goes for every single thing we're doing in life. That's why, by the way, multitasking is a myth. A divided mind always fails. My job, your job, to live the life that we really want to live and do it effortlessly and enjoy ourselves while we're doing it in the here and now, not looking forward to some big goal in the future, but actually doing it in the here and now. We might come back to that in another video. My job and your job is to be present in the here and now, and to constantly remind ourselves to be present. To constantly, should we wander, pick ourselves up and be present again. That's why, for example, mini meditation is so important. But mini meditation is only one, I suppose, semi-formal way of calling yourself to attention. I could call myself to attention now by that.